Hi, my cute kiddos. I have another book for you, and I really liked this book because I loved the pictures. So be sure and take a look at all the cool detail in the pictures. This is called Pond by Jim LaMarche. Look, looks like kind of a fall day, doesn't it? There's a little boy. Pond. This is so weird, I said to myself as I watched the clear water bubble up from the ground. We had always called it the pit. I followed the icy stream as it ran through the sand and gravel and passed through the big rocks out into the woods. I slowly looked all around me. It's not a pit, I said out loud. I can do it, but I'm gonna need help. I ran home and gathered my sister Katie and my best friend Pablo. The pit, I said excitedly. Yeah, so, said Pablo. I think the pit was once a pond, I said. I told them about the bubbling water and my idea. Let's do it, Matt, said Pablo. I'm in, said Katie. What are they going to do? You see this spring bubbling up? That's when water comes up through the ground. It's called a spring. The next Saturday, we started early. We gathered up the junk, the old tires, bottles, and rusty cans, and filled our wheelbarrow. Pablo's dad helped us take it all to the dump. Next, we started on the new dam. We got big stones and old logs from the woods. Katie kept finding pretty feathers. I can use these, she said. The dam took days to finish. One morning, as we worked, Pablo yelled, "You've got to see this." So what they're doing with the dam is they're blocking the water so it pools up. What do you think Pablo found? It was half buried in the sand, said Pablo. It's beautiful, Katie said as she washed the dirt away. We all took turns holding and studying the heartstone. Do you think somebody made this? I asked. See that beautiful stone they found? And there's the feathers Katie found. The pond filled slowly as the warm spring days passed. Whenever we found a leak, we plugged it with more rocks and branches and muddy grasses. As we waited, Pablo practiced his music, and Katie read to us about the new birds and bugs we were seeing arrive at the pond. I think the heartstone is made of quartz, she said one day. Blue quartz. That would be cool. What new animals are you seeing starting to arrive? I see some birds. And they said bugs too, huh? As summer arrived, so did the bugs and the rainstorms. There were good bugs, like the dragonflies and honeybees, and horrible bugs, like the mosquitoes and nasty horseflies that bit hard and left itchy welts. I don't like mosquitoes and horseflies, do you? The bugs were bad enough, but when the afternoon thunderstorms came, we had to run for home. Pablo loved the big storms. Look at the big smile on his face. He's just enjoying the rain coming down, and look, lightning. All right, let's get to work, said Dad. The day before, we had dragged the old wooden boat into the pond. It had started leaking immediately. At dinner, we had told Dad about the boat. "I can't believe it's still there," he said quietly. "Let's see what we can do with it in the morning." As Dad patched and puttied the holes and cracks, Pablo sanded out the slivers, and I nailed down all the loose boards. Katie painted a dragonfly on the bow. "We'll call it the Dragonfly," she said. Wow, more birds are arriving, aren't they? "The Dragonfly floats," Pablo proclaimed as we pulled the boat into the pond. The water was cool and crystal clear and shallow enough to walk around the entire pond. We all took our turn pulling the boat. "Those are barn swallows," said Katie. "They eat mosquitoes." "Well, then I love barn swallows," said Pablo. Look, doesn't that look so fun? Being in the water and pulling the boat around. All the new birds flying around. This page is just a picture. What things do you see? First of all, what are the kids doing? There's Katie, and she's paddling the boat. And there's Matt just hanging out on a floaty. Uh-oh, what's Pablo getting ready to do? What do you think? There's birds flying around. What's that bird have in his mouth? Do you think he went hunting? So there's fish in this pond now, huh? And probably frogs with all these lily pads. Lots of things, lots of creatures arriving. Doesn't that look so fun and relaxing to do on a summer day? Summer went by too quickly, as it always does. The last week before school started, our dad noticed us moping around. "You need a summer celebration," he said. "I haven't used this gear in years," Dad said as he got the tent and sleeping bags out of the garage. At the pond, we ate hot dogs and drank cocoa and sang corny camp songs. And Katie did what she called her dragonfly dance. We stayed up long past dark and watched as millions of stars came out. Have you ever been outside at night and noticed all the stars? So pretty. Look at that. My goodness. It was late fall when we started hearing the geese. In other years, they had always flown in V's high above us, but now, in the late afternoons, hundreds of them would fly down and rest on our pond. Pablo called it the Goose Hotel. The geese seemed nervous with us in the boat, but Pablo sang and played his song softly, and the geese calmed and swam up close to us. Wow, that's a lot of geese, huh? "They're hungry," I said. "Let's get some bread." "My book says they should only eat the food they find in the wild," said Miss Know-It-all Katie. Oof, look at that. It was almost January before the pond froze, solid enough to skate on. On some Saturdays, we would have skating parties with all our friends. Pablo's mom would bring us big pots of hot chili and cocoa, and we would skate all day until the sun set. Wow, doesn't that look fun? Look at them skating and playing hockey. And they're eating chili and drinking cocoa. That sounds like a perfect winter day. The ice on the pond finally melted, and after a long winter of heavy coats and boots, it felt good to run in the warm spring air. "To the top of the mountain!" Pablo yelled as he ran ahead of us up the little hill. You can see the pond from the top of the hill, huh? At the top, Pablo reached in his pocket and took out the heart stone. "Look at the pond," he said in a whisper as he handed me the stone. "How come we didn't see it before?" asked Katie. "We were just too close," I said. "It belongs in the pond. We should put it back," said Pablo. "What? That's crazy," I said. What do they see, guys? What are they so amazed about and they never noticed before? Look at the shape of the heartstone and the shape of the lake or the pond. They're both hearts. That's pretty cool. Pablo's right. The heart belongs back in the pond, said Katie quietly. By the time we climbed back down, they had convinced me to. "Yeah, I guess so," I mumbled. "Pablo, you found it. You should do it," said Katie. We took turns holding the heart one more time. Then Pablo skipped the stone back into the center of the pond. "One skip for each of us," he said. Have you ever skipped stones? Look. There it goes. 1, 2, and it's going for another one. 3, like the friends. Something odd happened later that afternoon. As we sat on the bank and made our summer plans, some of the animals and birds we had seen the past year gathered around us. Without any noise, we watched one another for a long while, and then slowly they walked or swam away and went back to their homes. And then we went back to our homes too. What do you think all the animals were trying to say to the kids? Look at all the different animals now that live in the pond. I see ducks. I see bunnies. I think it would be called a heron, and geese. Do you see anything else? Do you think they're trying to thank the kids for bringing the pond back so they could live there? I think so. Because that's the end of the story. Just the animals gathering around and looking at the kids. They created such a beautiful home for them, huh? That's the end. That's the end of the pond. I hope you liked it. I love you guys. Bye.